so black. I like your name. I like your tail. Get out. You are such a fiend for the camera. But that explains your arrogance. That editor is just as good at petting you as a cameraman. So does it really matter what they are pursuing? They are still good with their hands. That's a false rhyme with man.
I think we as a society today are incredibly obsessed with cultural figures. We are obsessed, or at least have an interest in something outside of the parameters of our own social constructs.
Good evening.
Who is David Andrews? His full name, David Lockwood Andrews. He is the third, is he not?
Oh, I had no idea. That was news to me.
I'm pretty sure he is the third in a long line of Davids. So, I hope so.
Well, it's bizarre because no one really knows much about David Andrews, but as soon as you say the name David Andrews, everyone goes, oh, David Andrews, yes, he's great, he's wonderful, or he's so weird, or he's crazy. But no one can tell you anything more than that.
There's a fair amount of small-town celebrity status there.
There are people that don't know him but have heard of him or heard the stories.
I see him everywhere. He's that guy that's kind of all over town.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go, David Andrews is in my bathroom right now. Like if I were to go in there and like open the medicine cabinet, David Andrews would be in there.
He's always coming from somewhere, kind of vague, and always going somewhere really vague.
It took me about a month for him to tell me where he was born, and he kept thinking up lies about it. I'm still not 100% sure, actually. Hawaii, I suppose. That's what he said.
Well, I'd heard that he was foreign. I'd heard that from someone. I think they said that he was from Romania.
Possibly Europe, maybe Eastern Europe, Russia, I don't know.
British, but not from England.
David Andrews is he's real short. He's got this kind of long curly hair.
I would say his hair is a defining characteristic of who he is.
He's almost always wearing hospital scrubs.
He has this green army jacket that he wears all the way up till right at the beginning of June.
He's a very popular character, in the story setting of our Savannah, but I would say that I don't hear enough.
We've always been interested to explain things to one another and to wonder about the universe and to ask questions. And I think storytelling has a lot to do with the big questions. Where do we come from? What happens when we die? Why are there some people who are more important than others, and we create legends and stories about certain types of people?
There was a show at DeSoto. There were music acts and poetry readings, and David Andrews just sort of did this performance where he pulled out pieces of paper and pretended that they were letters from ex-girlfriends.
And the letters just start I don't know, getting more and more awkward. Yeah, one was just a sentence long. It was something like sorry, sorry I didn't let the cat out. Love, Amanda.
Dear David, hope everything is well for you in Savannah. I sent you this mixtape. And then he pulls out an invisible tape, puts it on the ground, which is an invisible VHS player, and hits play. And then he reenacts Rambo.
And then he picks up the guitar, and it sounded like he played the Rambo theme or something. And
Yeah.
then,
And then
he
he-
did the rhythm sticks.
Yeah.
Like Indian like
broke into
ceremony.
kabuki theater.
Yeah.
It's like.
What?
Yeah.
This one is about seriousness, or because it's it's a line, it's serious. That's how much seriousness we're gonna get from here to there.
We were on set and we took a break for lunch and we were just gonna go to McDonald's. So everybody was taking orders. Finally, Jet and I came to David and we were like, David, what do you want? He was like, well, if you're going to McDonald's, I guess I have to have one of those numbers. You're just like, okay, David, which number would you like? Like, well, you know me, number 1. And we were just like lost it. We're like, oh my gosh. So we take off, we go and get him his number 1, which is a Big Mac. He was like, all right, this is a Big Mac, I love these. We're like, did you realize what you had ordered? And he was like, no. I'm just number 1.
I used to live with this rabbit. Dear Mr. Compson, you are the best rabbit ever and my best friend. Happy birthday! Hey, let's go steal some plants tomorrow. Plants tomorrow. You can tell me which ones are fun to chew on. I hope you didn't eat all the blackberries while I was in class, because I want to eat the shit out of those blackberries.
He used to have a rabbit. It had a cool name. I don't remember. It was like Sebastian or something. But Pierre.
David had a pet rabbit named Roger.
It sounded like the rabbit was like his best friend. I heard he used to play games with it.
He was, on his belly in the grass, going like this, pointing a fake gun at Roger, who was on the other side of the yard, and they were playing World War I.
Have you heard about his jobs? Nothing at all.
I've heard nothing about his jobs.
David Andrews was the guy who, whenever the police train on how to take down a criminal, David Andrews plays that criminal.
He would jump out with a stunt knife and try to attack one of the police officers. I don't even know if this could still be true.
He basically runs away from police who are training and gets tackled.
There's so many ways we want to be remembered. And one way is you produce children. But other people, they provide a sense of immortality through their extraordinary personalities. And I think we don't always come across people with really different character.
He has a cat that he has 18 names for, and if you ask it what's its name, well, we haven't really named it, we just call it whatever comes to mind.
Likes to rip out pages of old books and burn them. They used to have a pen pal, and they would write backwards to each other.
David writes backwards haikus. It's a favorite pastime of his. There's one of them on our wall over here.
And we're talking about poetry and prose, and I was like, what do you think is the difference between poetry and prose? And he just did that for a second, and he's just like, margins.
So when I decided, what can you do? Just all this deception. So I thought I'd read something that was real. It's not, just real. Lightning is real sometimes.
Saw him carrying around a hospital gurney a lot, walking down the street with it, with stuff on it. He had stuffed animals on it, and that was it.
Yeah, he slept in this hospital gurney just because he could, and he had his filing system in his house that was just piles of paper everywhere.
There was just things that didn't belong in those places, like We normally put computers on top of the computer desk. His was underneath his computer desk.
And there's like twine and string and cats running around and like papers with like vague, like, you know, like Wednesday, 3:30, just like taped up places.
One room with lots of beds in it.
I don't know what happened for that 30 minutes I was there. Like, it didn't feel real.
It was all boxes, like tall. The boxes, the stack seemed kind of precarious, maybe, but.
These characters that we read about, culture to culture, are able to show us things that we're lacking in our own lives, possibly, that we can emulate them, or we can laugh at them, or laugh with them.
You're not laughing at him at all, ever, because there's this deep respect for some reason, because I just think he's brilliant, and I think he's so intelligent.
We improvise, we don't memorize. Part of the fascination of storytelling, I think, is that each storyteller wants to add a link, and it changes. These stories have the kernel to them, but we can elaborate on them. I think that's to our credit.
But I did hear, this is before I met him, that he was the first successful test tube baby ever to be born.
I heard that David Andrews was like a talent scout for a modeling agency or like Playboy or something. And I guess there's these stories out and you're just like, whatever. And then I see him downtown, like with women flocking like all around him. And he had these like 3 like supermodel hot women like hanging off of him.
I think a lot of the times he makes up words that don't exist.
He didn't know the order of the months until he was 19 years old.
You get these like little facts about him, but you don't know how to string these along to make a person, like make a complete person. So I guess you have to assume a lot with him, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't, not to say that existentialism is going to be referenced, because, you know, I hate that shit. No, I don't hate it.
I think there's an innate desire to fill the gaps in our lives. In order to do that, we create things. And when we repress that desire to create, it'll bubble up sometimes in the form of embellishment or even lies. And I think we get some sort of creative satisfaction in doing that.
When we come across somebody who has a truly different character, we latch onto that person. And that person maybe creates, if that person is a extraordinary personality, sometimes the personality takes over the person, and we don't know, you know, that person's personality becomes bigger even than the person himself, and that's, actors do that, I think.
Is he an actor, or did he just have this bizarre personality and people were like, oh, we should put him in every play?
Yeah. I think it's very possible that he creates this character, he creates maybe a lot of these stories to entertain himself.
Could be interpreted as calculated uniqueness, you know, but I think it's genuine.
Well, I would say the majority of his behavior is some form of defense mechanism.
And I think if it was a character, it would slip up a little bit. I always expect him to just, in the middle of a sentence, be like, nah, just kidding, man, that's some crazy shit. He never does. He never does. He just keeps right on going.
And if it is a character, if he did make it up, I personally don't care, because like I don't know anyone that does it as well as he does that. Like he just is so good at being this character, if it is a character, that like it's just remarkable. Like you don't come in contact with that very often, I don't think. And you know.
I think there's definitely I think there seems to be a separation from the personality and the persona. Who a person actually is and who a person pretends to be can be very different depending on the context of that situation.
I think David knows when somebody's not getting him, and so I think he'll play up the weirdness.
I think half the fascination is the fact we don't know. Like, is he really as smart as everyone says?
Maybe I don't want to know why he's like the way he is. I can just appreciate the mystery of David Andrews.
I think it would be really sad if we figured it out. Half the fun is not knowing, I suppose.
If you attribute sort of a celebrity status to this person, and you start to get to know them, that celebrity status then sort of diminishes because they become a real person. So I think people enjoy, you know, walking through the hallways going, oh my God, David Andrews, he's so crazy. You know, because if you start to get to know him, then you realize, oh, maybe he's not crazy, maybe he's just really smart.
It's a book that is a little bit of a lie. But it also is supposed to make you laugh. Like most lies do, like I love you. That's a lie that we've heard so many times. Like I love you. It's raining outside. That's also a lie. Neighbor, please, 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 neighbor, tell me why. Eyes are so cruel when they pretend to be kind. I don't know. It's easy to fake like you know what you're doing if you get really upset.